الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وعاشروهن بالمعروف فإن كرهتموهن فعسى أن تكرهوا شيئا ويجعل الله فيه خيرا كثيرا وفي الحديث قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الخلق عيال الله فأحب الخلق إلى الله من أحسن إلى عياله أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك لمن الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. In one hadith it is mentioned الراحمون يرحمهم الرحمن, that those people that show mercy, that show kindness, يرحمهم الرحمن, Allah Ta'ala who is Rahman, Allah Ta'ala shows mercy on those type of people. And then Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam mentioned, Irham man fil ard. You have mercy on those people that are on the surface of the earth. What is the consequence? What is the result of this? Yarhamkum man fis sama. That being that is in the heavens, Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala, Allah will show His kindness to you. Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala will shower His mercy upon you. In another hadith it is mentioned that al-khalqu iyadullah, the entire creation of Allah ta'ala. Whether a person is a Muslim, whether he is a non-Muslim, whether it is the animals, whether it is the insects, whether it is the fish that is in the ocean, the entire creation of Allah, al-khalqu iyalullah, this is all the family of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. فَأَحَبُّ الْخَلْقِ إِلَى اللَّهِ, the most beloved of the creation of Allah. In other words, a man wants to become the beloved of Allah, the most beloved of the creation of Allah, man ahsana ila iyali, that person that is kind to the family of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. You be kind to the family of Allah, immediately you become the beloved of Allah. Somebody is kind to your wife, somebody is kind to your children. Obviously we're talking of maharim. They are kind to your children, to your family members. What will happen? Automatically your heart will melt for that particular person. Your children are studying in a madrasa. The ustad has a soft spot for that child. Immediately your heart will go towards that ustad. So in a similar manner, that when we will have love for the makhluk of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala, we will become the beloveds of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. In this hadith we also learn that when a person, he has this mercy in his heart, many problems in our life will be solved. Just on the basis of having mercy for another human being. Not just from the time of Ramadan, just now in this 1-2 months, there are so many complaints that we are getting, where people are saying that the husbands, they are not treating the wives well. And how many women, they are crying also. In the Mubarak month of Ramadan, there were people that phoned from many places. One particular woman, she phoned and she was crying. Normally in the month of Ramadan, we spend on everybody. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam generally was very, very generous. And particularly in the month of Ramadan, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam will be much more generous than other times also. And in the month of Ramadan, we will go to what extent and to what lengths to feed people at the time of iftari. This particular lady that was crying, she's saying that my husband does not want to buy groceries in the month of Ramadan. And the mother-in-law, what is she saying? She's saying, you are after my son's money. The husband doesn't want to spend, and the mother-in-law is saying, you are after my son's money. So if a person has raham in his heart, he has mercy in his heart, he will never let another makhluk and another creation of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala ever suffer. So the solution of the problem of the ummah is having this raham and having this mercy in the heart. If the mother-in-law is to ever tell the daughter that I'm not feeling well, 2-3 days, you stay with me at home, you make my khidmat, you look after me. So the son-in-law, if he's got raham in his heart, what would the son-in-law say? No, don't stay 2-3 days by your mother. Your mother look after you your whole life. She brought you up. You stay 1 month with your mother. You stay 1 week with your mother. Make khidmat of your mother and take care of your mother. And he will not only stop there, but he will go one step ahead. And what would he say? He would say, is there any way I can be of service also? Is there any way that I can make your khidmat as well? This is when there is raham in the heart. But the problem today is we become very, very angry. At that time, if the table has to turn a little bit, and the son-in-law becomes angry, and he says that no, all this time it was your duty was towards your mother. Now that you are married, now your duty is towards me. So now leave your mother and you come home immediately. What a bitter taste it's going to leave now, and how difficult it now becomes. But if you only showed mercy at that time, how much of love and how much of muhabbat. So we cannot control our anger. As the Hakim Saheb Rahmatullahi used to say, when we sit down to eat, 7 times recite Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. 7 times and blow on the food. We must also eat that food. Let our spouses also eat that food. Let our children also eat that food. And see how much of rahmat of Allah Ta'ala will come into our home. How our hearts will become soft. Hazrat used to further say, he used to say, read Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim 7 times and blow into water. And he says that same water the woman should take, and when she's cooking, she needs water in the tarkari also. So put that water in the tarkari. And when you are making roti, so you need water to knead the dough. So Hazrat used to say, take that water and knead the dough. And then let everyone in the house eat. And see how the rahmat of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala now comes in that house. We are not human, we are all human beings, we are not angels over here. So sometime or the other, we are going to have problems in the home. Sometime the husband is going to say some words to the wife that is going to hurt the wife. But the husband, many a time, he is unconscious. He doesn't even realize that I've said such things to my wife that has hurt my wife. He's got to go to work early in the morning. So he goes to sleep at night. When he goes to sleep at night, next thing he wakes up in the morning. He has his breakfast and he's gone to work. But that woman, she is of a sensitive nature. That her word that you said to her, that sentence that you must have uttered to her, how it must have broken her heart. And whole night she must have been crying. She has not slept the entire night. But when a person that is a human being, when he realizes that I've hurt the feeling of my wife, immediately go, fall at her feet, say, make me maaf, I have done wrong. Go to the ulama, ask them, tell them, I got a problem with my anger. I say things that hurt my wife. How can I control my anger? What treatment is there for me? What verses of the Quran Sharif should I recite? Once the Hakim Saheb Rahmatullahi was in Jeddah. Whilst he was in Jeddah, one person wrote a letter to Hazrat. So he said that, see, in our home, the husband has a serious problem with his anger. He cannot control his anger. The wife has a serious problem with her anger. And this is not only from one party. Sometimes the wife also has the problem. Sometimes the husband also has the problem. So in this letter they stated the husband also has a problem. The wife also has a problem with her anger. And not only there, it goes one step further today. Today it's with the children also. And the children also have a problem with anger. So they wrote to Hazrat that everybody in this home has a problem with anger. What is the solution? So Hazrat said, when you sit on the dastarkhan, when you sit on the floor, recite Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim 7 times. And blow on all the food. And thereafter eat the food. And see how much of rahmat of Allah Ta'ala will descend on that home. And then as I mentioned, the second thing that you should all do, that whilst you are walking, whilst you are working, wherever you are, just recite, Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. The same is in Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. But now you are calling unto Allah Ta'ala. So recite Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Continuously recite this. And Hazrat was a Hakim, he was a great Sheikh of Tasawwuf, a great scholar also he was. And he was a Hakim as well. So Hazrat mentioned that take cold water. And in that cold water, obviously in Pakistan, whatever he must have prescribed, put some glucose into there. And then he said, take a lemon and squeeze that entire lemon into that glass of water. And then you get a particular seed that's called the isbagha seed. In Urdu it's called isbagha seed. I don't know in English whether we get it here what it's called, but it's a isbagha seed. He said sprinkle those seeds on the water and then let them drink that water. And he says you'll see what is the consequence. Even the heat that is in the blood of a person, that anger, that is the heat that is in the blood of a person, that anger will subside, it will come down. One person, he wrote to Hazrat and he said that I have this problem, lot of anger in me. Wife also has anger, I also have anger. And Mullah Ali Qari Rahmatullah says, when you read this Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim 7 times, Khurujul Buzaqi min al-fam, that particles of saliva must come out of the mouth. Obviously it does come out, we don't realize it, but particles of saliva come out and they enter into that water as well. So Mullah Ali Qari Rahmatullah says, let this enter the water and then drink that water and see what will happen thereafter. There will be total rahmat. Everybody will be so happy in that home. After 1 month, this person wrote back to Hazrat Hakim Saheb. And what did he say? He said that you told us to recite Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim 7 times. We made amal on this.
such a simple prescription, but they say our home, everybody, the anger has subsided. So much of love, so much of muhabbat in the home. And who can't do this? Even if we don't have problems in our home, what's there if we recite Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim 7 times and blow on the food? Tell the wife when you're cooking, you just read Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim 7 times, blow in the pot that you are cooking, and see the rahmat of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala descending in our home. This anger is a disastrous disease. It will kill people. It will bring an end to our marital life. So many problems will come to, so many problems you will end up with when a person has anger. As Hakim Saheb rahmatullahi alayhi, when he was staying in one area of Pakistan, I don't think it was Gulshan Iqbal, I think it was another area. So when he was staying in that particular area, one person came to his home 12 o'clock at night. So Hazrat got a little upset. 12 o'clock at night, he is sleeping the entire day. He's serving the deen of Allah Ta'ala, teaching in Darulum, in the Khanqa, etc. That if it was some worldly problem, you won't go to somebody 12 o'clock in the night. But for deeni problem, 12 o'clock at the night, you had come. But nevertheless, this is how big their hearts are. At 12 o'clock at night, he woke up. He called that person in. What is the problem? He said, Hazrat, I made a very big mistake. So he said, what is the mistake that you made? He said, the mistake that I made, I gave my wife 3 talaqs. And now I am full of regret. My anger has subsided, but I am full of regret. So what should I do? So Hazrat told him, he said, see, you should have shot 1 arrow. You should have shot 2 arrows. You shot 3 arrows and you killed the person. And now you are coming and you're asking me what to do. So he said, Hazrat, this anger is insanity. So Hazrat said that anger is not insanity. Anger, Dr. Abdul Hayy Saheb Arifi rahmatullahi, his son, Maulana Ahsan Saheb, he said anger is not insanity. He said anger is actually very, very intelligent. And anger is very, very selective also. A person, he knows exactly who to get angry upon and who not to get angry upon. You got your wife that is in the house. You know that the wife is much more weaker than me. I got control over this wife. So now you'll get angry on the wife because what can the poor woman do at home? You got your little children that are at home. Those children, you got full control over them. You got full authority in that home. Now you'll get angry on those children because you got that authority in the home. Or you're a big boss of a company and you got all your staff that are under you. And they're fearing that if we say something wrong, I'm going to lose my job. So these are the places that you'll get angry. With the wife, you'll get angry, the weaker person. The children that are weaker, you'll get angry. The employees that are at work, you will get angry with them. But that same wife, you had a fight with her. And you're telling that wife, I'll sort you out today. And I'll sort you out once and for all. You will never ever open your mouth again in front of me. And the same day now, the brother-in-law comes. And he's a person that goes to gym. And he's a bodybuilder, strong person. Now see where all your anger goes. Now you know you can't challenge him. You'll tell him, forget the entire story. Leave all the story one side. Everything is marked from today. So anger is very, very selective also. But this anger causes so much of problems in our life. On one occasion, one Sahabi, he was hitting his slave. That was a time of slavery, and the Sahabi was reprimanding his slave. He was hitting his slave. Whilst he was hitting his slave, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam came from the back. And from behind Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam just mentioned one statement. He said, Allahu or Lallahu aqdaru alayka minka alayhi. That Allah Ta'ala has more qudrat. Allah has more power upon you than the ability and the power that you have over the slave. Today he is your slave. You got control over him. You've got authority over him. So today you are hitting him. But if Allah has to take you to task, Allah Ta'ala has much more power and much more authority than the power that you have over the slave. When he turned around, فَإِذَا هُوَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم. He sees Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What does he say? He takes a qasam in the name of Allah. And he said, this person, huwa hariyun li wajhillah. He is freed for the pleasure of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam turned around and Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam mentioned, if you didn't free the slave, لَلَفَحَتَّ النَّارِ أو كما قال عليه السلام, that the fire of Jahannam would have engulfed you if you didn't free the slave. In another hadith, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam mentioned that man kaffa ghadabahu, that person that controls his anger, kaffa Allahu anhu adabahu yawm al-qiyamah. Allah will withhold his adab from him tomorrow on the day of Qiyamah. When Allah Ta'ala has the full authority and full ability to punish a person that controls his anger in dunya, tomorrow Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala will protect this person from his adab on that day. It is mentioned on one occasion as a Shaykh al-Hadith, Mullah Muhammad Zakaria Saheb rahmatullahi. So one person as a Shaykh rahmatullahi was reprimanding him. And as a Shaykh rahmatullahi was telling him that how many times must I overlook and how many times must I forgive you? So he was saying this to that person, and Mulana Ilyas Sahib Rahmatullahi was sitting next to Hazrat Shaykh Rahmatullahi. So he whispered in the ears of Hazrat Shaykh Rahmatullahi, he said, how much you want Allah Ta'ala to forgive you, and how much you want Allah Ta'ala to overlook you, to overlook your faults tomorrow on the day of Qiyamah. You forgive people in this dunya. Even if the person made the mistake again and again, you want Allah Ta'ala to overlook and forgive you, you forgive that person, you overlook that person in this dunya. It is mentioned, Mulana Thanvi Rahmatullahi mentioned this incident, and great lesson can be taken from this incident. Mulana Thanvi Rahmatullahi mentioned that in India there was one person. In those days, people, what they used to earn in India, very, very small amount they used to earn. To eat meat in those days, it was regarded as a delicacy to eat meat. Today we're eating chicken every day. Children don't want to eat anything else. All the vegetables and all, this is like poison for children. They only want chicken tikka all the time. So this person, he wanted to buy a chicken. So after working for some time, he managed to buy a chicken. He bought the chicken, he bought the masala. After buying everything, he came home. And he gave his wife, he told her that cook this chicken for me. How happy he must have been that after so long I'm going to eat chicken. The wife, she's also the servant of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. She also makes errors in her life, so she cooked the chicken. When she cooked the chicken, she put so much of salt in the chicken that he couldn't eat the chicken. When he sat down to eat the chicken, he couldn't eat the chicken. At that time, where did his mind go? He said that, Ya Allah, this is your bandi. Allah, this is your servant. If my daughter was in this position, and if my son-in-law had authority over her, and he had to treat her in a harsh way, how would I have felt? I will also forgive her today. I will overlook whatever she has done. He drank some water. After drinking that water, he got up and he walked away from that place. After some time, this person, he passed away. When he passed away, one buzruk, one pious person saw him in a dream. And in the dream, he sees that this person, things are going well in Jannah for him. So he said, how did it go for you? He said that I had major sins in my life. I committed major sins in my life. He said, but when I came before Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala only said that remember that day when you forgave my bandi. Today I will overlook everything. Everything has been wiped out for you. So with these are such occasions where we can strike a deal with Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, where we can get our matters sorted out with Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. We can get our Jannat over here. We should take care of the rights of the wife, the rights of the children, the rights of our parents. As the Hakim Sahib Rahmatullahi mentioned on one occasion, he said that he was in Bombay, and he said there was a pious Sufi. There was a Sufi in Bombay, and really this man was a pious man. But what did he tell Hazrat? He said, see, that one day there was a fight between my mother on one side and my wife on the other side. He said, I sided. Everybody has got rights. The wife also got rights, and the mother also got rights. The rights of the wife must also be fulfilled. The rights of the mother must also be fulfilled. We are not saying that take the side of the mother or take the side of the wife. A person should be very careful in these instances, get guidance from those that are experienced in this particular field. So this person, there was a fight between the mother on one side and the wife on the other side. What did he do? He sided with the wife and he pushed the mother aside. When he pushed the mother aside, she made two badwas immediately. He was a Sufi, a pious man, but she made two badwas for him. One badwa she made, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala give you leprosy. And the second badwa she made, that may Allah Ta'ala make it such that you don't attend my janaza salah. He told Hazrat, he said that my mother passed away. I never get the ability of attending my mother's janaza salah. And Hazrat said that with my own eyes, I seen that parts of his fingers, they were falling, the skin, etc., all that was falling because of the disease that this person has. So we should try and fulfill the rights of other people. When we fulfill these rights and they get happy, du'as come out of their heart, our need is going to be fulfilled. Our dunya will be made. Our akhirat is going to be made. In the Quran Sharif, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala mentioned in regard to these women, وَعَاشِرُوهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, that live with these women in a good way. There's no time to go into the tafsir and the detail, but I'll just mention this much, that there are three stages of dealing with a person. The one stage of dealing with somebody is adal. You good with me, I am good with you. That is adal. There's no real achievement in this, because that person is doing good, you're doing good to that person. The second one is dhulm, where you oppress another person. Husband is oppressing the wife, very, very dangerous. If a badua comes out of a heart at that time, a person, he can be destroyed. From the parent's heart, badua comes out, a person, there's no chance for that person until he goes and he makes up with his parents. He makes maaf, asks them for forgiveness, and then continues. And the third stage is what we call ihsan, that somebody does bad to you, but in what you do in return, you do good to that person. That is what is called ihsan. This is what every person must strive for, to try and do ihsan, to try and do good to the wife. So here, Allama Alusi Baghdadi Rahmatullahi says, when Allah Ta'ala says, be good to your wife, it means make ihsan to them, be good to your wife. A husband and wife will always have problem. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam told Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha that, oh Aisha, I know when you're happy with me also. And I know when you're angry with me also. She said, Ya Rasulullah, how do you know that when I am happy with you and when I'm angry with you? What this means? There was problem between Nabi alayhi salam and Aisha radiallahu anha also. So Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam said, when you are happy with me, then you say, Wa Rabbi Muhammad. By the Rabb of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, I take a qasam. And when you're not happy with me, then you say, Wa Rabbi Ibrahim. I take a qasam by the Rabb of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Yet what love Nabi alayhi salam had for Aisha radiallahu anha. And what love Aisha radiallahu anha had for Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Hazrat Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, when Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam would come home at night, she had composed poetry. And she would say when he would come home at night, Lana shamsun walil afaqi shamsun. That for us also we have a sun, that the whole world is benefiting from the sun which Allah Ta'ala has given everyone. Lana shamsun, we have a sun. Walil afaqi shamsun. And for the heavens, for the skies, there is a sun. That sun everyone benefits from. And we have a sun referring to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. She's referring to Nabi alayhi salam. Wa shamsi khayrum min shamsi sama. And the sun that Allah Ta'ala gave me, Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha say, the sun that Allah Ta'ala gave me, this is even better than the sun that is in the heaven. And then Hazrat Aisha, that is in the skies. And then Hazrat Aisha radiallahu ta'ala said, فَإِنَّ الشَّمْسَ تَطْلُعُ بَعْدَ الْفَجْرِ. That the sun, when does it rise? After Fajr, the sun rises. But she says, وَشَمْسِ طَالِعٌ بَعْدَ الْإِشَاءِ. That my sun, it rises after the time of Isha. When Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam comes home after the Isha salah, now my sun has actually risen. So much of love she had for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And Nabi alayhi salam had so much of love for Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha also. But never did they go to that extent. When Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam now got angry, he went to the extent of talaq and these type of things. Yes, there are certain occasions where you can go to talaq. That is also permissible. Shariat has made it permissible. Where husband and wife, there's no compatibility whatsoever. They can't get along any longer. Then Shariat has made it permissible in this instance. Then a person can go to talaq as well. And Hazrat Tanvi rahmatullahi alayhi has mentioned, I'll terminate on this. Mullah Tanvi rahmatullahi alayhi mentioned that one right of the wife is that the husband must give a certain amount of money to his wife every month. Whatever is within his ability, whether he can give her according to his ability. Obviously, there are masail pertaining to this as well. But just for everyone to understand, for example, it is within the ability of a person to give his wife 500 rand, for example. So give her that 500 rand. And that 500 rand you will not take her to account for. Normally when you give her money for groceries, then the money that you give her for groceries, you can take her to account for that. You ask her where was the money spent. For example, you gave her for rent, lights, water, groceries, whatever. You can ask her, give me a detailed report, where was the money spent. But this money that you give your wife, this nafaqah that you give your wife, you don't ask her where was this money spent. This is for her, it's hadiyah for her every month. And for example, if her brother comes and he brings his children, her nephews have come to the home. If her heart desires, I want to give them all hadiyah, 20 rand each, 50 rand each. This from here we also understand it's not the job of the wife to go out and work. The job of the wife is to remain at home. That's why the husband has to give her this money. Otherwise, if she was permitted to go out and work, why must the husband then give her money? So this indicates that the wife must stay at home. So this she can now give her relatives, whoever she wants to give, and there is no accountability. If we fulfill their rights, and the woman is happy, see, Allah Ta'ala will give so much of barakat in our life. So much of happiness Allah Ta'ala will give in our life. And not only this in the enjoyment of Jannat, what enjoyment a person will get in Jannat, that enjoyment Allah Ta'ala will give it to us cash in this dunya if a person just learns to have this raham in his heart, have this kindness in his heart, and fulfill the rights of his spouse. Allah Ta'ala give me tawfiq and all of us tawfiq. Wa akhir da'wana.